Monarch Money and Everydollar both promise to help you build real wealth, but there's one critical difference most reviewers never mention, and it could be the reason your budget never quite works. I put both platforms through a real-world test, and what I discovered completely changed my final verdict. If you're deciding between the two, this review could save you from a frustrating mistake. Here's the truth you need to know before you choose. Now, before we get into the specific features, let's get one thing straight. Who are these budgeting apps actually built for? Because this is where the Monarch Money versus Everydollar decision starts. The truth is, the Everydollar budgeting app has a very specific user in mind. It's built more for the person who wants a simple, guided path to budgeting, following Dave Ramsey's zero-based budgeting method. It's for the beginner who needs structure and isn't as concerned with seeing their entire financial picture in one place. Think of it as a dedicated budgeting coach that helps you give every single dollar a job. But Monarch Money is built for something completely different. Monarch Money is for the person who sees their financial life as a project to work on that deserves a completely filled out dashboard with all the different aspects of it. So this is for you if you want to track your net worth, analyze your cash flow across all of your accounts, and if you want to have a powerful automated system that handles both your day-to-day budget and your long-term financial goals. If you're the type of person who has multiple bank accounts, investment portfolios, and credit cards, and you want to see how they all work together, Monarch Money is designed for that depth. In my deep dive into this financial powerhouse, I came across this Reddit thread where people were discussing Monarch Money, and one former Mint user affirmed that Monarch Money was definitely worth the cost for him, claiming that it was much better than Mint and that he hadn't experienced any kind of syncing issues or problems. Another user in that same thread made a direct comparison, stating that Monarch Money's automated transactions handled 95% of his purchases after he set up his rules. He emphasized that it had saved him hours each month on budget tracking compared to the manual entry required by Everydollar. That single comment comparing the automation of Monarch Money versus Everydollar's manual process highlights the fundamental choice you're making between these two. Monarch Money is a modern, automated financial command center, while Everydollar is a more focused, manual budgeting tool. So now that you know who these apps are for, let's get into the specific features that make Monarch Money so powerful for a comprehensive financial picture, and where Everydollar focuses its strengths. Let's start with the heart of any budgeting app, connecting your accounts. So when I set up Monarch Money, the first thing that I did was link all of my accounts, my checking and savings from Chase, my credit cards from American Express, and my investment accounts from Vanguard, for example. The goal here is to get all of your information syncing together in one place, and Monarch Money is built for this. It gives you a live, up-to-the-minute picture of your entire financial life, not just your budget. And to make sure this process works reliably, Monarch Money doesn't just rely on one connection service. They use 3 different data providers: Plaid, Finicity, and MX. This was a game changer in my testing. So if I had, for example, one provider which couldn't provide a connection to my specific credit union, for example, I could easily switch to another. Now, imagine all of your accounts are connected, and now the magic really starts to happen. So my absolute favorite feature, and one that gets a ton of praise on Reddit, is the Cashflow Sankey review. This is an interactive diagram that shows you a beautiful, clear flow of where your money comes from and where it goes every month. It turns your boring transaction list into a visual story of your finances. You can even share this diagram with a partner or financial advisor, which is incredibly powerful when it becomes really simple to look at and really understand where you're positioned. Oh, and speaking of partners, this is another area where Monarch Money really shines. Monarch Money for couples is built from the ground up for 2 people to manage money together. So you both get your own logins, and you can see all of your joint and individual accounts in one dashboard individually. And you're always basically on the same page when it comes to shared resources and shared finances. I found a review from a user who perfectly captured why this matters. She said, "Monarch is great to use with a partner, and she loves being able to have 100% visibility across her and her husband's cash, investment, and credit card accounts in one place." She even mentioned how easy it was to monitor their joint checking to make sure that the bills were covered and to keep tabs on savings for their wedding and their honeymoon. That level of unified control is something I found Everydollar can't exactly reach. It doesn't match that kind of control. And when it comes to actual budgeting, Monarch Money gives you flexibility. You can use traditional category budgeting, where you assign a limit to every single category, or you could use their flex budgeting, which I found super useful for real life. It's much more flexible. So basically, it groups your variable spending categories, like dining out, entertainment, and shopping, into one higher level bucket so that you don't have to stress over moving a few dollars between takeout and fast food. So it's realistic, and it allows you to create different sections for where you want your money to be allocated. But Monarch Money doesn't stop at just budgeting things. The cash flow reports are incredibly deep, and it allows you to actually understand and look deeper into your cash flow and where your money's coming from, right? You can break down your spending by category, by merchant, by month, quarterly, yearly, and you don't even need a budget set up to use it. It just works automatically as your transactions sync. And that's not all. Monarch Money keeps adding smart features. It has plenty more tools, and it keeps updating too. Another one is their AI assistant, which can answer questions about your spending habits right in the app. It basically looks at your data, and it uses that information to create a summary. All right, now what about Everydollar? So its features are very focused on the Ramsey methodology. So their premium version offers a financial roadmap, which is a long-term planner based on the baby steps. It shows you your projected net worth and when you'll hit milestones. They also have a paycheck planning tool, which genuinely is pretty useful if you have an irregular income, and it allows you to see how much money you're keeping and making. It helps you allocate each paycheck as it comes in, which lowers the risk of overspending. So, in the Monarch Money versus the Everydollar features fight, it's a battle of breadth versus focus. Monarch Money gives you a panoramic view of your wealth and a lot of tools to use. Everydollar gives you a focused path out of debt, and it's a specific program that is built by a popular media figure, and it's built to be for a very specific type of person. But in any case, like, neither of these platforms is going to be perfect for every audience or perfect for even the people who it's meant for, right? There are a few things that you should be aware of before you make your choice. In my deep dive into user reviews for this Monarch Money versus Everydollar review, I came across a complaint from a user who said that he was charged for Monarch Money despite canceling. Now, in my experience, and from the vast majority of reviews I've seen, this does seem to be a rare customer service type hiccup, not a widespread billing policy. Like, you're not hearing about a lot of people having this kind of issue, but it is the kind of problem that while frustrating, it can almost always be resolved at the end of the day if it comes to it by contacting support directly, or in like a worst case scenario, disputing the charge with your credit card company, though I doubt it would ever come to that for most people. On the Everydollar side, I think the main downsides are more about the platform's fundamental design, what it's meant for, and how much it can do for you. I saw reviews, and I felt it myself during testing, that the app can also sometimes feel a bit slow or have syncing delays, stuff like that. One user I came across put it pretty bluntly. He said that he used Everydollar for about a year, but recently it's been lagging a bit on his iPhone, and the syncing delay has been annoying, and basically he ended up switching to Monarch Money, which felt more stable. That lack of consistent speed and the reliance on manual entry for the free version are the real trade-offs you're making for its simplicity. They do have a premium version, but people, I guess, switched to a different platform for what they needed. When it comes to cost, the pricing for both Monarch Money and Everydollar is pretty straightforward, and you need to think about the value when it comes to your choice, but each of them is relatively simple to understand. When you look at the depth of features, the automation, and the time that Monarch Money saves you, I found that one to be much more reasonably priced for the value that it provides, especially for the couples who can share one account, and for all the other tools that just help your journey a lot. And it's much more easy to actually have access to all of these tools to understand where your money is going and where it's coming from. For the most current pricing and any active promotion, and to see where they offer the best deal for your budget, make sure to check the link in the description of this video. We do try to keep it updated so that you can get the best possible offer. What is my final verdict in this Monarch Money versus Everydollar review? Well, if you're looking for a modern, all-in-one financial command center that automates all the tedious work and gives you really a stunning visual overview of your entire financial life, and that grows with you as your wealth grows, then the platform that I like and that I use personally is Monarch Money. If you want to check it out, make sure to click the link in the description of this video to get started.